Hello, friends, and welcome to Your Daily Detroit. It is Thursday, July 21st, 2022. Coming to you from South 8 Mile, I'm Jer Stays.
And from just barely north of 8 Mile, I'm Randy Walker.
Just enough, you could throw a baseball.
I could.
How are you? It's good to hear you on the microphone and not just behind the knobs.
I'm doing well. It is a little hot for my liking, but I have a nice, refreshing beer to help cool me down tonight.
Ooh, what beer is this, sir?
Well, I'm not usually a beer drinker, so I just tell people I'm not a beer drinker, but there is one big exception. I really like sour beer, and I am drinking the Bomb Pop Sour from Baffin Brewing Company in St. Clair Shores.
Ooh, okay. So for those who are uninitiated, what exactly is a sour beer?
A sour beer is exactly what it sounds like. It tastes sour to the tongue. There are several different styles. You've got your Berliner Weisses, you've got American Wild Ales, you've got some European styles.
And with the Bomb Pop, is this what that tastes like?
Yeah, it has lemon, lime, raspberry, and tart cherry.
Ooh. And why the Baffin? I love a good local pick.
Yeah, I'm over at Baffin usually Wednesday nights because my friends at Delray Barbecue set up shop over there. So when I'm in the area, I'll try a few beers. They're always rotating through new flavors and styles. And tonight just happened to be this Bomb Pop hit my eye, and so I grabbed a holler to go.
Ooh. You know, I think it's a universal rule that wherever Randy is, the good food is.
I'll agree to that. I tend not to go to bad places very often.
No, and when you do, let me tell you, our internal Slack lights up. We hear about it.
I like to share it too.
Well, sir, I'm just doing the standard gin and tonic because you need something refreshing on days like this to try to, get through it a little bit. I mean, it has been just so insanely hot, but we've had the opportunity to get out and about to a couple of places, and we will share those in a minute after we thank our members on Patreon, patreon.com/dailydetroit. You all have been so very generous in helping us with the studio rebuild. Also, buymeacoffee.com/dailydetroit. Obviously, we're figuring this all out, but really, the support has been great. And whether it's the financial support, the kind words, the ideas, and as always, you can always get in touch with us at dailydetroit@gmail.com.
Thank you very much, listeners.
Well, listeners, me and Randy had a great opportunity to have lunch together. In fact, the first lunch, the inaugural lunch, the launching lunch of Pizza Cat Max. This is a concept that's down, I believe, in Toledo, Ohio, that's normally takeout pizza, but the Max theme is basically taking it to a whole nother level. Yes, you can take out pizza, but there are all kinds of different things going on. And we went ahead, met up. It's kind of on the edge of the Greektown neighborhood in a basement spot that used to be Ready Player One. I'm going to set the table here for people. This is not a review. This is our first impressions. We don't really do reviews until a place has been open a little bit, but we do have some first impressions and some first thoughts from going over there, Randy.
That's right. This is the grand opening. They had literally been open for 2 hours by the time we got there.
The first thing that strikes me off the bat is that, this is retro all the way. The whole idea here is to transport you in time, to give you that giant 80s, 90s vibe. There's a few different arcade game stations on TVs where you've got NES and Sega and emulators for Atari and all of that kind of stuff. And then you kind of walk in there, there's a DJ booth, and then you just feel like you're going into a 90s mall food court in the basement of this old cigar factory in downtown Detroit over on Fort Street. What were your first thoughts on everything, Randy?
The vibe is incredible. As a kid from the 90s, it just plucked at my heartstrings right there. Lots of neon lights, lots of vibrant neon colors, pink and blue, yellow, orange. The colors were just overwhelming. The neon lights, the logo, the signs. I loved it.
I bet. It was kind of like a kid in a candy store if you're into that retro vibe.
Yeah, and it kind of integrates with the building a little bit because there's the exposed brick walls, the wooden beams overhead. So it kind of a melding of two different styles there. But I really like the look of the space.
Yeah, it definitely worked. I was glad to see that it looks like there's going to be a lot of hours for this one. That, yes, they're going to serve the lunch rush, but they're also doing kind of like a nightclub thing with their DJ booth with, hours that are on the weekends are going to be going. They're going to be running the full bar program.
Yeah, evenings during the week, I believe they're open till midnight and weekends until 2 a.m.
Wow. All right, so first impressions on the food. I tried a variety of things. I will say that this pizza, of all the styles of pizza, I think this has more of like the thinner crust, like the thinner bottom crust, and even the thinner outer crust. I think it's important to set levels on what kind of pizza this is, especially if you've never had Pizza Cat before, which I'm going to assume most listeners haven't.
Yeah, even though this is in Detroit, this is nowhere near Detroit-style pizza.
No.
With one exception.
What is the one exception?
The one exception is the crispy, cheesy Frico crust around the outside. That kind of mimics Detroit-style pizza with that almost burnt, cheesy edge on the outside that crisps and crunches when you bite into it.
I did like that a lot. Another thing to note, too, is that it's not like they sling out giant pies. I mean, you can order a large pizza, but you kind of order a pizza for yourself, you know?
Yeah, the small pizza is perfect for a lunch, single portion, $12, reasonable price, a large variety of toppings, and pre-configured options on the menu as well.
Now, this wasn't really our concern when we were there, but I gotta say, it's going to be important, and I watch this all the time with new lunchtime restaurants in downtown Detroit. What's going to be key for that lunchtime rush is going to be the kind of reverse of what'll be key in the nightclub, right? Like, so at night, of course, you want quick service, but it's kind of like more of a laid back vibe and such. And then during the day, they're going to have to make sure to be Johnny on the spot about getting those pizzas out the door, because a lot of the people who are working downtown, and this has been the case for many years, you've got to be able to turn it real quick, because not only do you have a limited amount of time when you're out, but when you're not attached to an office building, people have to travel out to get you. So they're really making a push to make sure that you get there. So speed is going to be super key.
Yeah, it was a 10-minute walk from my office to and from. So when you're downtown, you have to account for the people that need to travel. My friend Pat also joined us for lunch, and he also walked from a nearby office building, and it took him about that long as well.
Yeah, and so that adds up really quick if you've only got like an hour for lunch. Or, I mean, heck, I've worked places I only had 30, 40 minutes, right?
Yeah.
And so if you're eating up half that time or a quarter of that time walking, like, get your order in ahead of time, that kind of stuff.
Exactly. In fact, it was a little slow opening day, so Pat had to leave us early in order to get back to work on time.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to give him demarcations on that one. It's opening day, right? Like, that's not fair.
Yeah, exactly. They're still getting the feel of things, and so it's hard to judge them on time, but it is something they should be aware of.
But we can judge them a little bit on their food, because we tried a variety of pizzas.
Yeah, I had the pizza that was called the Little Caligula. It was not traditional in any sense of the word. It was a spicy garlic butter sauce. It had diced chicken on it. It had sausage and jalapeno.
Yeah, I had a little bit of that too. It was solid, but the heat was there.
Yeah, those pickled jalapenos were definitely a spicy kick.
You know, maybe I'm just kind of lame, but I always go for the standard pepperoni at any place because I want to know the baseline. Like, I want to know what it does. And I was, pleasantly happy with it. They were running a special that was like $3.13 for a small pizza, which I don't expect them to ever do again. But, I was glad that they did it. It was tasty. The slices are real small, like they're real bite size. It kind of reminds me, as far as slice size, it reminds me a lot of Cottage Inn in that regard.
Yeah, for a small pizza, as small as this pizza is, I'm not sure why they insist on cutting it into, 6 or 8 slices? I think just cutting it into quarters would be adequate size slices for a small pizza like this. And then my friend Pat had the Southside J, which is a more traditional pizza. It had a red sauce with pepperoni, bacon, and banana pepper. And I didn't get a chance to try that, but you had a slice of that, didn't you, Jer?
Solid. Like, that's your more traditional pizza, like what you'd order out of a corner joint or whatever. It had those big vibes.
The other food we tried there were the wings. They're oven-baked wings, and we had the Carolina honey sauce that was recommended to us by the server. The wings were good. They were very small.
I mean, all wings are small nowadays. That's kind of like the world right now. The world is a world of small wings, Randy. It's been very sad lately.
But here's my major gripe with the wings and with the menu in general. They point you to a QR code menu, and there are no prices listed on that menu. The 10-piece wings was $17. Had I known that when I ordered, I would not have ordered. Those wings were not worth $17.
Oh, okay. So like a solid decision here early on. I'm usually not one to do that. I will say that the menus are on screens all over, but they're like full of different options. Lots of Detroit callbacks. Like, there's a North End pizza that's like beef and cheddar cheese or something. Like, there's all kinds of different things. There's like vegan options, gluten-free options. But yeah, how do I say this? My friend of mine would say that some places are cheap and cheerful. He's from England. And do you remember Slices that was in downtown Detroit?
I never got a chance to eat there, no.
Okay, so that was what I would call cheap and cheerful. Like, you could get out of there for like under $7 or $8. Now, this was before the pandemic. They are now closed. But this is more of the, it's going to be a little bit more. I think that when it comes to the pizza, it's really worth it. And if you're into those kind of wings, but be ready that you're not going to get out of here for less than $10.
Yeah, the small pizzas were $12. And I do want to point out that they do have a vegan and gluten-free option made with a hemp crust. And they do have a low-carb keto option, which is made with a chicken crust. So if you're looking for alternative pizza, check out those two options.
And they're still getting their feet under them with their bar program, too, though their cocktail prices definitely have a range.
Their cocktail prices, for sure. I think I hit the upper end of the price there with my $20 cocktail that was called the Chimera, which was their kind of version of a zombie.
This isn't an indication against them per se, but when you start getting to the $20 cocktail territory, that's a decision. I start having to think about a lot when a cocktail starts hitting $20.
To be fair, that was the high end on the menu. There were cocktails for $12, $14. But the Chimera was made with rum. It sounded okay. We'll see how it is on my second try. I don't want to judge it just based off this first try.
Yeah, and that's the key. Like, I think it would be very good for people to go check it out, right? Like, from this first impression, like, what we're saying is go check it out from this first impression, and would love to hear what you all think.
For sure. I say thumbs up for a good first attempt. We'll see how it goes in a couple months once they've got their feet under them. My friend Pat enjoyed it. What do you think, Jer?
I'll give it a thumbs up. I'll be back.
For sure. The pizza was delicious and reasonable. If I stick to that, it'll be a no-brainer. Like I said, in a few months, we'll try some of the other options, see how they are again in the future.
And by the way, pro tip, make sure to look because the sign is on the door. There isn't like a stick out sign, and then it's in a basement, so you're going to be going down some steps. So just make sure that you keep an eye out for that. Look for like the hot pink writing. From pizza to cocktails, time will tell. Now, Randy, you and I did not go together. I went with a friend of the show like a week after you went, and we wanted to talk about it on the show. And this is our opportunity. I was really stunned by this place. This is another Detroit Optimist Society joint. You'll find it on Woodward. It's in that newer construction building there, just north of the White Castle, just south of Grand Boulevard. Let me tell you, first off, you could easily miss it if you're walking by, because I walked by it twice. And I was like, oh, there's the door. But once you step in, it goes from like modern to this complete like throwback retro vibe that was real warm and cozy. Everything from like pink chairs to the wallpaper. They did a really nice job with this place, Randy.
Yeah, it definitely reminded me a little bit of like, I don't know, my grandma's house. Cozy and retro.
I thought in a good way.
Oh yeah, no, it was a good comforting vibe for sure.
And I mean, me being an East Sider, I appreciate a good pink and green decor.
So when I was there, I tried a few things off the menu. I had to try their cocktail made with Norden Aquavit because Robin, who makes Norden, is a friend of the show. He's been on a few times.
He has.
It was delicious. I also tried a cocktail they had with rum that I don't see on their menu anymore. But then also the bartenders were super nice, super friendly, and were willing to make me cocktails that were not on their menu at all. They have a full bar, so all the bottles you can imagine, and they just have, 6, 7 cocktails on the menu, so they gotta use up those other bottles anyway, so might as well make something off menu. Now, a lot of good bars and good bartenders will make you drinks off the menu. You just gotta read the room. If it's super busy, don't bother the bartender with something complex, but I went there right after work, so it was still a little quiet time. Only a couple other patrons in the bar, and the bartenders were more than happy to take some time asking me a few questions about what I wanted to drink, what styles I liked, and then came up with some delicious custom cocktails.
Yeah, I mean, I found the bartenders to be absolutely on point. A great mix of friendly without being over the top when you're having a conversation with a friend. I tried a couple things on the menu. I went with the Old Buddy. I have not drunk brandy in a long time, Randy. I enjoyed it a lot. That was Western Grace Brandy, Campari. I can't say it right. Ponte Mas? Mess? You're going to fix it at that for me, I'm sure. And Averna.
Yeah, Punta Mes is an Averna. That sounds like a pretty bitter drink to me with the Campari and the Averna.
Yeah, it was, but I like that.
Yeah.
I'm somebody who likes, like for instance, I love dark chocolate. give me like a good 60, 70%, 80%. I'm happy, right? And I like sweet stuff too, but I like stuff that has kind of different layers on the flavor scale. So I enjoyed it a lot. And then I followed that up with a peace frog. And that had big Liberator gin vibes, eucalyptus, quince, agave, lime juice, cava. So I went basically one way and then completely the other. And I was happy with both.
I've tried that peace frog too. The quince and the eucalyptus are actually a tea that they use. They brew to make the cocktail with.
Ooh.
I was wondering how the quince flavor came in, and the bartender told me it was part of an herbal tea blend that they use.
All right, well, thumbs up or thumbs down, Randy?
Definitely a thumbs up. I've already been there twice.
100% thumbs up. I am so excited about the bar district that is coming together there. You could start at Time Will Tell. You could, go over to Kiesling. You go over to Freya, Dragonfly. It's so great to see that kind of energy happening, and not just in like the central business district, to see that happening up by Grand Boulevard. And don't forget to check out all the shops across the street. You got Yum Village, the restaurant nearby. You've got, you've got the Joe Louis restaurant there. You've got Urbanum if you want to do some shop. Like, it's such a great neighborhood.
Yeah, the new Supino location is there across the street. You've got Baobab Fair as well that had just recently opened in the area. So lots of things to do besides drink in the area.
Oh, 100%. And I apologize to anybody I've missed. I literally am like talking off rip on this. But yeah, what a great corner at Woodward and Grand Boulevard to take a look at. Bar Pigalle is a place that I have wanted to check out for a while. I didn't get the chance to, but Randy, you did. I believe it's in Brush Park, correct?
That's correct. They've been open for just over a month, or coming up on a month now.
Ooh.
I was there the week after they opened.
Okay, so this is still kind of in the first look territory.
For sure.
All right. So what did you try over there? First off, actually, you know what? Let's talk about the vibe. What is the vibe of this place?
It is a pretty classic, dimly lit, nice textures. To be honest, I was drinking for quite a bit actually at Time Will Tell before I went there. So my memory of the look and feel of the place isn't the sharpest. But I did definitely take pictures of the food and drinks, and I am more able to easily talk about those for sure.
For sure. And what did you have?
So I tried a variety of their small plates. In addition to the small plates, they offer also full large plates, like dinner size entrees, but I tried just a variety of the small plates just to get a feel for as many dishes as I could. So for like the large plates, you could get a slow roasted lamb or a roasted chicken or a stuffed trout. But for the small plates, I tried the frites with a malt vinegar aioli. I had the crudité with a caramelized onion and boursin cheese dip, and I had frog legs.
Oh, wow.
That were wrapped in guanciale, served with an herb broth and some preserved lemon.
Well, Detroit used to be a center of frog leg cuisine. Did you know that? Like, chefs would go down to the Detroit River and catch fresh frogs for that night's service.
Oh, wow. I had no idea.
Oh, it was a huge thing. People would travel from all over the country for Detroit's frogs.
I have not seen frog legs on a menu in a long time. I grew up eating frog legs with my grandma. She would always take us to this one restaurant. She would always order the frog legs. I tried the frog legs once, loved them, and always ordered them whenever we went back.
All right, so I'm going to detour here and talk about frog legs for a second, because I think a lot of people think frog legs and Kermit and they're not going to touch them. Why do you love a frog leg?
It's got a mild flavor. A lot of people say frog legs taste like chicken, and the texture is kind of like chicken, but more like the chicken wing than like a chicken breast. It's a little bit milder, a little more delicate. Some people say that it might have a hint of like a crab or lobster flavor to it. So it's somewhere between fish and chicken in flavor. Texture is a little closer to chicken.
Interesting. So you're saying don't be afraid to try the frog legs?
Not at all. If you close your eyes, didn't know it was a frog leg, somebody just put it in your mouth, you would probably guess it was chicken.
So how did they prepare it?
So it was wrapped in guanciale, which is like a Italian cured pork product, and then roasted till the guanciale was crispy. And then it was in like an herb broth that looked green. They presented it they said they wanted it to look like the frogs were in a swamp. So it was like a dark green. It's called a nage, just a fancy culinary term. And then it had some drops of preserved lemon with it to cut through the richness.
So overall, with all these things you tried, you feel like you got a good value for money?
Oh, it was great. I enjoyed it. I loved it. I tried those 3 dishes that I mentioned, and then they also have a cheeseburger. The cheeseburger is not on the menu. It's a secret item that is not so secret because everybody knows about the cheeseburger by now.
Well, especially when you're talking about it on a podcast with thousands of listeners.
We're talking about it on a podcast. Our friend Joe Hakeem has posted it on his Joe Foodie Instagram page, so it's not a secret anymore. It's not a secret. But yeah, order the burger. You can get it 1 or 2 patties. It's got some shredded lettuce, some sauce, some melted cheese on it. It's delicious too.
And I'm just thinking, it sounds kind of fancy. Do I need to be fancy to go?
I was wearing jeans and a shirt. I think it was a polo shirt. So not fancy at all. I was sitting at the bar. They have a great bar program there. Like I said, I had been drinking at Time Hotel beforehand, so I just had the one drink at Bar Pigalle. I had their tiki drink, or tiki-inspired drink, that was called the Freddy Freeloader, which is a rum drink with chartreuse.
Ooh.
So it's a little tropical with some falernum and lime, and then a little herbal with the chartreuse. It was quite delicious.
All right, so if you want to check out Bar Pigalle for yourself, 2915 John R. in Detroit, and I think you might find Randy there at some point.
You probably will. Yeah, if you're not familiar with the area, it's just around the corner from Grey Ghost and Second Best.
All right, before we let you go, we're going to give you some snacks of some food things happening around town, some neat little bits, maybe things that, might not make the radar somewhere else, but we think they're cool. I think the first one I want to start out with is Lost River has a new menu, which if you haven't been to Lost River on the east side of Detroit on the Grosse Pointe border, I don't know why you haven't yet, but it's a solid place. They do a really good job.
Yeah, that is my favorite bar in Detroit. I love it.
Really?
Yeah, this new menu looks fantastic. I'm excited to stop in there and try some of these new drinks.
What's one of the drinks you are looking at?
I think the first new drink I will try is the Leilani Pelican, which is made with Kahlua dark rum, guava, pineapple, lime, and coconut cream.
Okay. See, for me, I'm all about that Toucan Sam.
Okay, yeah, that sounds like a nice take on a Jungle Bird with the funky Dr. Bird rum from Two James and the molasses syrup, the pineapple. That sounds delicious too. Oh, and it's got Ming River Baijiu in it. That is a funky spirit. That is a Chinese sorghum spirit, and that is funky but delicious.
Ooh. So for you, why is Lost River your number one pick?
It's a fun environment. They've got the whole tiki vibe going on. They've got the thatch. They've got the vines. They've got the fog machine. They've got the lights, the flowers. They have a great, friendly, fun staff. They make great drinks. It's just all around a great place. Something I want to mention just opened up here in Ferndale is a new gas station.
Gas station?
Yeah, not something we normally cover here on Daily Detroit, but I stopped by there last night. One of the promos they're running is gas for $3.99 if you pay cash, $4.09 if you pay with card. And they're also offering free coffee or Slurpees for customers as they stop in this week.
Ooh.
This new gas station is a Shell station. It's the Ferndale Shell at the southwest corner of 10 Mile and Hilton. You might remember it used to be a marathon station. It's been under construction for a while. The Shell station opened this week. So they're doing these promos to entice people. I'm not sure how long these promos are going to last. So if you go there after you hear this and you have to pay full price for gas or they're not giving you a free Slurpee, don't yell at me. I got a free drink last night. Got cheap gas last night.
Yeah, if you're listening to it, get on that. Like, don't, because, gas prices have been high and free Slurpees are a great thing.
And the other nice thing about this station is that it's open 24 hours.
Now, is that a rarity where you are?
I think so. There are a few places closer to the freeway. They're 75. This one is closer to 696. So there are a few other stations nearby, but it's always nice to have options when you're late at night. You might not want to drive to one of the other places, or you might not be able to make it depending on how, with gas prices the way they are, how low you're letting your tank go before you before you fill up.
Paging Fletcher Sharp. Well, if you're ever in southern Western Wayne County-ish kind of area, Taylorish area, I want to thank a listener who turned me on to the Cordial Shop. I have made the trip to pick up some sandwiches over there and tried a variety of them. They specifically suggested one that's Cajun turkey called the Suicide Killer, which is just out of this world as far as a sandwich. The other ones are really solid too. You won't miss it because it's on Telegraph. You'll see like Cordial Shop in big lettering, but it's not like architecturally stunning or whatever, but you get in there, the owners are friendly, and Thank you so much to the listeners who turned on. We were asking about good sandwiches to go to. That one, when I was running some errands, really saved my bacon, if you will, when I needed a good sandwich.
Finally, I want to mention and give a good shout out to Culantro here in Ferndale. As a goodwill gesture to the community with the sweltering heat we've been having this week, they posted on Facebook saying, come on in, enjoy our free AC, and we don't expect you to purchase or buy anything. Just come in and cool off in the AC. I think that is a great gesture towards the community from a local business. And I encourage you definitely to try something there. I particularly enjoy the lomo saltado, which is kind of like a take on Peruvian stir fry, and it's served over French fries.
Ooh, now it's not spelled that way, but they're definitely living up to the cool intro.
I think that's a good place to end this episode, Jer.
All right, and we are done for today. Thank you so much for listening to Your Daily Detroit. Randy, where can people find you on social media?
You can find me on Twitter at Randy Walker or Instagram at RandyWalker83.
Excellent, excellent. Well, with that, I'm Jer Stays.
And I'm Randy Walker.
Remember that you are somebody. We'll see you around Detroit.